I ignored my own happiness to keep someone else happy. The sentence arrived one ordinary Tuesday, slipping into my mind while I stood at the sink rinsing thyme leaves. My fingers were cold from the water. The apartment smelled of garlic and rosemary, scents Thierry preferred in the evenings. I let the thought sit there unexamined, the way one lets a moth rest on a windowsill rather than shoo it away. My name is Elise. I am 34 now, though for a long time I felt older. The years had not added lines so much as they had subtracted weight. Weight from my laughter, from my step, from the canvases that once leaned against every available wall. Thierry and I met in the small gallery where I worked 3 afternoons a week. He came in looking for a birthday gift for his sister. He left with a small abstract I had painted myself, blues and ochres bleeding into each other like weather moving across a lake. He came back the next week to ask if the artist took commissions. I said yes, even though I rarely did. That was the first small surrender, pretending my work was more available than it actually was. We moved in together after 9 months. Not because we were reckless, but because we were careful. Careful people plan. Careful people measure compatibility in shared grocery lists and matching bath towels. Careful people do not leave room for doubt. Our apartment had one good window, south-facing, generous light in winter. I set my easel there at first. Thierry would watch me work sometimes, arms folded, head tilted. "You make it look easy," he said once. I smiled, pleased, because I wanted him to be pleased. Later I understood he had not meant it as praise. He meant painting was something decorative, something that happened in spare hours like knitting or baking bread. I began to paint less. First it was the mornings. He liked to sleep late on weekends, and the smell of turpentine woke him. Then it was the evenings. He liked the living room quiet so he could read proposals or watch documentaries about brutalist architecture. I moved the easel to the bedroom corner, then to the hallway, then into the storage closet beside the vacuum cleaner. Each relocation felt minor. Each felt like consideration. Thierry worked long hours. When he came home he was often still carrying the day. Client revisions, budget cuts, the quiet panic of being 38 and still waiting for the project that would define him. I learned to greet him with calm. "Ready?" Questions gentle. Laughter soft. I became the still surface he could rest against. I told myself this was love. I stopped buying certain books because he found novels self-indulgent. I stopped wearing the red scarf I loved because he said it clashed with his coat when we walked together. I stopped suggesting restaurants with live music because crowds made him tense. I learned the exact pitch of silence that meant he was tired, the exact rhythm of footsteps that meant he was content. My shoulders began to ache. Not dramatically, just persistently. A low hum beneath the skin. I blamed the chair at the gallery, the weight of carrying groceries, the damp winter air. I did not blame the hours spent holding myself smaller. Friends noticed the changes slowly. "You seem quieter," one said over coffee. I laughed it off. "Just tired." Another asked why I hadn't painted in so long. I said life had become busy. The word life felt generous. It implied movement, texture, color. My days had become smooth, polished. One December we hosted a small dinner. Thierry's colleagues came, architects with sharp cheekbones and sharper opinions. I cooked for 6 hours. Roasted root vegetables, braised short ribs, a tart tatin I had practiced twice. When the last guest left, Thierry kissed my temple and said, "You were perfect tonight." I stood in the kitchen afterward, stacking plates, and felt something shift inside my chest. Not anger. Not sadness. Recognition. I had spent the evening being perfect the way a mirror is perfect, reflecting exactly what was needed, adding nothing of my own. That night I dreamed of my old studio, the one I rented before Thierry, before careful planning. In the dream I was painting with both hands, color on my forearms, music loud enough to rattle the windows. I woke with my palms open, as though waiting to receive something. The next morning I took the easel out of the closet. Thierry was already at his drafting table. He glanced over, surprised. "You're painting again." "I think so," I said. He smiled, warm, encouraging. That's great. Maybe something small. We don't want the smell everywhere. I carried the easel to the window anyway. The first canvas stayed blank for 3 days. I sat in front of it each afternoon, brush in hand, waiting for permission I no longer needed to give myself. On the 4th day I mixed a quiet gray warm, almost lavender in certain lights. I painted a single line across the middle, then another beneath it, then a third. They looked like horizons, or scars, or both. Terry came home and saw it. "It's minimal," he said carefully. "It's mine," I answered. He nodded, uncertain. We ate dinner in near silence. Over the next weeks I painted more. Small pieces. Studies of light on the windowsill. The shadow of a chair at noon. My own hand resting on the table. I did not show them to him. Not yet. They were not gifts. They were evidence. One Sunday he said he had been offered a position in Porto. 18 months. Good salary. Prestige. "We could find you a studio there," he added quickly. "Somewhere with good light." I looked at him across the breakfast table. His eyes were hopeful. Tired. Familiar. "I don't want to go," I said. The sentence landed softly. No shouting. No tears. Just truth. He blinked. "What?" "I don't want to leave this city. I don't want to start over so you can feel successful. I want to stay here and paint, and read novels, and wear the red scarf, and listen to music that makes you tense." He stared at me for a long moment. "I didn't realize you were unhappy." "I wasn't unhappy," I said. "I was absent." We sat with that for a while. He left for Porto alone in the end. Not dramatically. We packed his things together. We cried quietly, on the couch the night before his flight. We promised to talk often. We did not promise forever. I kept the apartment, kept the window. I kept the easel in the light. Paint almost every day now. The canvases are still small, still quiet. But they are mine. When friends visit they ask about the new work. I show them without apology. They say the colors feel different, braver somehow. Terry and I speak every few weeks. He tells me about the project he's leading, the city he's learning. I tell him about the painting on the wall, the book I finished at 3 a.m, the way the rain sounds on the skylight now that no one needs silence. Sometimes I miss him. The missing is sharp but not crippling. It reminds me what I chose. I ignored my own happiness to keep someone else happy. I do not regret the years. They taught me the shape of my own edges. They showed me that love does not require disappearance. It requires presence. Both people, fully there, even when it is inconvenient. These days I open the window at night, even when it's cold. I let the draft move through the rooms. I sleep with paint still under my nails. And in the mornings when the light arrives, clear, unapologetic, I sit at the easel and begin again.